Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another video of the F122 Driver Career with Alpha Tauri, episode number 32 today for the Austrian Grand Prix of Season 2, round number 10. If you missed the previous episode uploaded on Monday at Silverstone, then you can of course go and check that one out. Very frustrating race. And subscribe of course if you're new to the channel to see plenty more F122 Driver Career videos. But yes, R&D wise, this race, aero wise, we're starting to look better. Now, you know, we're actually above McLaren now in terms of aero. Sashi wise, not so good. We're down at the bottom, so you know we've been neglecting Sashi a little bit. So I think we're going to put a major weight redistribution upgrade on to try and claw a bit of that back to the likes of Alfa Romeo, as we're going to have a dry qualifying, a wet sprint, bearing in mind it's only 6 laps I think, and then a dry race. So we'll have to have a dry setup in a wet sprint. That could cause a bit of chaos as people slide around, and that will be getting drier over those 6 laps. And there is the consequence of not upgrading our Sashi, because Alfa Romeo have jumped us coming into this episode. Not that they have scored any points in the opening 9 rounds so far, so them and Williams, the only 2 teams I think that have yet to score any points this season. Alpine back in front of Ferrari, Mercedes are closed up as well. Practice, we'll start in practice. It got a little bit hairy with Robert Schwartzman in the Alfa Romeo. He has a lock-up, comes in and then almost doesn't see me, and luckily that would have been an early end to practice 1, but fortunately able to miss him, and we'll carry on in practice as we jump to qualifying. Then in the next session on Friday, then Austria has been an okay circuit for me over the years. I've got a lot better race pace around as we let another Alfa Romeo past there. As I said, a lot better race pace. We're down in P10 actually, as we start our final flying lap. A little bit slow on the approach of turn 1. We're gaining a little fraction of time though through turn 1. Hopefully going to get a little bit of a slipstream then from the Alfa Romeo driver in front. We've got a Mercedes behind us, so hopefully he doesn't come and... Well, we've gone purple sector 1. But that is where I'm going to gain a lot of time at turn 3 as we chuck the car in, but then lost a lot of time on the exit there as well. So we're only a tenth and a bit up on our previous best time, with other people improving. Up to turn 4, can we gain anything out of turn 4? Yes, we can. Almost 2 tenths up now on our previous best time, more than 2 tenths through into turn 5 and turn 6, you know, the middle part of the lap as well. This is where out of this corner, you know, losing a bit of time out of turn 6. This is always where I lose a lot of time actually there to my previous best time. I always lose a lot of time to the AI as well through sector 3 as we come through the final corner as well up to the line. What's it going to be? 104.4 I think that was, and it's only enough for P11. So, you know, not great, but we have got a sprint to come, so it's not the end of the world. We do out-qualify Gasly by a 10th, which is slightly annoying for Pierre because he needs to do a little bit better. Ocon, 9th place on his 2nd race in return for Alpine as well. You know, so yes, we'll have to wait and see what we can do though from 11th place on the grid. It's time for the sprint first in that pouring rain conditions.
Well, the weather is not looking good today. We are expecting the downpours to continue into today's sprint. This will make for some tricky conditions for all the teams. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's sprint. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday and he'll start from pole position. Edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Leclerc, Sainz, George Russell and Norris, Vettel, Ricciardo, Ocon and Lewis Hamilton, Phoenix, Gasly, Guan Yu Zhou and Magnussen, Albon, Bottas, Mick Schumacher, and Lance Stroll, Schwartzman and Yuki Tsunoda. And with preparations almost complete, let's head trackside for today's sprint.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
No mention from Mark there about being Red Bull's home race, but there we go. Strategy is obviously a no stop on the full wet tyres. Don't know how much that weather is going to progress in the 6 laps we've got, but never mind, as the team haven't invested in any umbrellas for the team, and to give them some cover in that wet condition. But it's absolutely pouring out there as well, and the fibre lights are out, the way we go, and it's a slow start in the rain. Gasly goes past. We're going to dive down the outside of Ricciardo and Hamilton there. Not quite a lot seeing doing there, and we move away into P9 as Leclerc jumped Perez on the start, exactly what he needs, especially the fact that it's not, the championship's not going his way again, as well. Verstappen now is starting to make that exposition. We're having a look at turn 3 of Vettel and Ocon, nothing doing there, bit of contact there. I think that was from, I'm not entirely sure who, from someone on the road, got on half the front wings. We managed to get Vettel, but Vettel is having a go on the left hand side down to turn 4. We're going to actually turn the defence into attack and dive down the inside of Esteban Ocon and move up to P7. So we're into the points, which is nice. As well as we're watching Perez and dive out the inside Leclerc, and Leclerc has front wing damage. From I'm pretty sure it is. Yes, he does. The front right end plate is missing, and he'll have to come in, and that's Leclerc's not only his sprint but the race ruin, and that's a massive advantage to Max Verstappen in the championship. And there is Leclerc coming in. We have tried to look down the inside of Lando Norris at the final corner, unable to get past our fellow British as he closes the door. Leaves us a little bit vulnerable to Vettel. We are using the RS, but we should be able to get past now. Now we're having a look at Norris and Russell. They're going out having a look at it. We're going to take full advantage, them being unaware of me. Slip past Norris. Can we get past Russell as well? Is he going to out traction us at turn 3? Yes, he does. Well, that will be the answer. We're going to pull back into his slipstream. We've got Norris though, and now we're going to get Russell at turn 4 as he tries to squeeze us. Not enough. Thank you very much. And we're up to P4 and a little bit wide there. And that allows Norris to get in front of Russell anyway. In actual fact, Russell falls behind Sebastian Vettel. Jump to lap 4. There he's Lando Norris gone defensive wide again, a little bit off circuit, and there's contact between myself and Norris. That's unfortunate. So we went a very bit wide, and Norris now will have to come in. Unfortunate for the Brit, who was looking for that good momentum. Hasn't won a race so far this season, and isn't likely to get any good starting position now for the main race. So already two of the big names, Norris and Leclerc, starting from the back as Vettel has another go again. Jump to lap 6, the final lap. We've now been caught by Russell, who's got back in front of Vettel, who's fallen asleep. Ricciardo is now woken up as well. We're wide again at turn 4. Just can't get it turned in at that corner. Again, Russell though doesn't make contact this time. Russell's a go at the inside at turn 5. We can close the door. As well as the rain now is starting to ease off. These are the conditions where the AI are obviously OP, able to find the traction, and obviously the player always has that deficit to the AI. Verstappen has won the sprint for Alpine. We've come through the final corner. Oh, is that Russell round? I think it is. Vettel has a go at the final corner. Nothing to do. Up to the line for P4, which I will definitely take. P4 as a starting grid for the main race. But what on earth happened to George Russell there? Did he have I don't know if there was any contact between myself and Russell through turn, I think that was turn 10. So here we are on board with Russell. A little bit of a twitchy through that corner, and then as we can follow through into the penultimate corner, he takes a lot tighter line, and then there's just a slight as a contact, and he has the Spinala as well, and then he decides to drive into a wall as well, and gets away with it actually in the end, because the game glitches and puts him P10, even though the two lots of the Williams passed him at the point. Gasly P9, so at least he did make up a couple of positions as well, although to be fair, Leclerc and Norris also had to make pit stops as well. So yes, Leclerc's lead's been cut to 2 points as part of the sprint, so we'll see what we can do. Fourth on the grid time for the race.
This is it then, race day in Spielberg for this year's Austrian Grand Prix. Not long to go before our drivers hurtle off the line and into the first turn, the Niki Lauda curve, as it was renamed in 2019 in memory of one of Formula One's most beloved figures. The Spielberg circuit then is situated 700 metres above sea level, with just 10 corners making up one of the shortest laps of the season. One time around here is a distance of around 2.6 miles, with the best overtaking chances into turn 1 or the tight uphill turn 3. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Phoenix, Sebastian Vettel and Ricciardo, Ocon, Hamilton, Gasly and George Russell, Joe, Bottas, Yuki Tsunoda and Albon, Schwartzman, Mick Schumacher, Lance Stroll and Charles Leclerc. Norris and Kevin Magnussen fills the last spot on the grid. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat, Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching for as they go down into turn 1?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn 1 as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
So here we are, P4 on the grid. Race strategy is going to be a 1 stop from soft to medium. Did look at medium to soft, but it is a lot slower. When I say a lot slower, it's a bit slower as well. You need to be a lot closer than that to be thinking about the mediums. Although the Ferraris have considered the mediums, and they're starting the mediums. Right for lights around, away we go. Poor start for Vettel there on the mediums. We're going to defend from Ricciardo as well. Perez has had a poor stop. It's that Sainz in front of Verstappen as they're going to have a drag race up through the fake turn 2 and up to turn 3. But yes, Verstappen chose the inside line. Verstappen just sailed out the outside. Too busy thinking about Perez. Verstappen was not busy thinking about Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari on those medium tyres. Because we're now going to dunk at the inside of Sergio Perez as we dragged on the man from Mexico wide at turn 3 as well. Not intentionally, but he did try. There's just no awareness there from Perez of where I was, and that allowed Vettel to get past. We're on the move though, fastest in sector 1 running, and Sainz is not running away. We're going to switch it from left to right around the outside. Sainz almost pinches us off circuit. We're going to give him the same treatment back, but now it's going to be a drag race down to turn 4, and we should have the legs on the Ferrari, and indeed we do. Sainz tries to come back, but we give him space on the inside there, and we're up down to P2. So a very good start from us, as well as right on board with Daniel Ricciardo. Ricciardo's been forced out by Vettel. Perez has been forced out by Vettel, and Ricciardo is going to breeze past Perez, who's now falling away, and he's now going to fall behind Sergio Perez. Esteban Ocon, his old teammate from Force India days, as he locks up at turn 4. and that's going to also allow Lewis Hamilton to have a go at him as well. Not sure where George Russell is. Surely he must be slightly ahead, but I don't know where as well. As now we're watching the two Ferraris having bickering amongst themselves, not watching Ricciardo gets Sainz, and then coolly gets Vettel at turn 1 as well. So Ricciardo's got both Ferraris, but it doesn't work out for Ricciardo because Vettel now starts to wake up, has a bit more pace, and out of turn 3 down to turn 4 has DRS and is able to get back up to P3. We're going to come into the pits then in lap 7. Verstappen is running away again, and you know it's going to be it's going to be very hard to be able to stop Verstappen in this race, but we should be good for P2, which would be our best result of the season at a track that, you know, the last time we were here for Alpha Tauri, we actually won the race from Valtteri Bottas when he was in the Mercedes back on F1 2020. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to win the race today because Verstappen isn't that dominant. But we're already having a look at Lance Stroll trying to get past this traffic. Stroll starts on the medium compound tyres, gets a bit of traction out of turn 3 down to turn 4, but then we're able to eventually have the higher, get a bit of top speed and get around the outside of the Canadian. So we now chase after Kevin Magnussen, who, typical K-Mag styles, tries to squeeze me onto the graph, doesn't give me any space, and we get a tank slapper of being on the curb at turn 1. Gonna have a little bit of a drag race with K-Mag through the fake turn 2 up to turn 3, but we're able to there, fortunately no damage, and we're back up to P4 with the two Ferraris out in front. As we're watching, Pierre Gasly's out the race, and Zhou has smashed into the back of Gasly and is out the race as well. So Gasly with an engine failure, Zhou just completely blindsided, smashed into the back, and that's going to bring out the first safety car in about 4,000 years. And the heart sank when Sainz jumped us in the pits, but there, what's happened to Sainz? Because he was coming out the pits, he's jumped us, he's on hard tyres as well, but then coming up to the safety car, just drives into the back of it. A stupid AI mistake. And even more stupider is the Ferrari strategy on Vettel's side, because Vettel has not stopped under the safety car, which would have given him, a P2 at least, ahead of me. So Vettel doesn't come in, the safety car comes in the end of lap 13 onto lap 14. Having a little look at Verstappen, Verstappen is vulnerable through sector 1, but then should have the legs on me through sector 2 and sector 3, which is where he's been making the move. We're going to have to make the move now, down the inside, up at turn 3. Don't really mind if we've forced him a little bit wide there, but Verstappen's going to have the better drive out of turn 3, down to turn 4, and now it's a drag race between Alpine and Alpha Tauri as well. But we outbrake Verstappen, go a little bit deep, and that allows Ricciardo in front of Verstappen as well. So we're not too keen about that, fussed about Vettel. We know he's going to be coming in. The main target is Verstappen. Ocon there is up to what is effectively a net P4, but Verstappen doesn't waste long in getting past Ricciardo, because literally the next lap he forces Ricciardo out, and that's going to actually allow his teammate Esteban Ocon past Ricciardo as well. So Verstappen now has the rear gunner, even though they may not like each other in real life. As there's Magnussen, and K-Mag is out the race. Don't know what he was doing, completely bulldozed into Lance Stroll, and all of these retirements and extra pit stops has allowed the likes of Schwartzman and Albon into the points. But enough about that now. Jumping to the end of lap 16, we've got 2 laps sprint to the end of the race to hold on for a potential first victory for Alpha Tauri. As we try to launch it now, can we catch Verstappen napping? Yes, we can. 6/10 is the gap there. But up to turn 3, this is where I've been poor. Out to turn 3, There is Max Verstappen, and he goes through on the right hand side, but we're going to now switch it to be on the right hand side, have the inside, brake, go a little bit wide, and same moves we did earlier to defend from Verstappen and retain the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix. Verstappen has a go at turn 5, we try and squeeze into the curb and make sure we keep the lead. Lap later then, turn 4, Verstappen all over the back of me, not able to make a move on this lap though. Maybe his tyres are going off or something, I don't know, but through the final, through to turn 5 then, this is the final corners of this lap. Verstappen has probably one good run down to turn 10 if he wants to win this race, but he's not got that run. We're actually extending the gap on Verstappen through the penultimate corner and through the final corner. Something amazing has happened, because finally I've won the Grand Prix.
Fantastic drive, that's just fantastic, amazing, you deserve that race win, well done mate.
Thank you, Mark. Numero uno, it's nice to be back on that top step of the podium.
Brilliant stuff from Alpha Tauri today. What a superb victory. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
I think that smart tyre management on track and very smooth driving definitely assisted in their victory today. That combination meant they got the absolute maximum out of their tyres at all times.
And it's time now for the podium celebrations, and how well deserved is this one? This is a team all about giving talented young drivers an opportunity to race and to win. Alpha Tauri are your winners here today.
First race win on F1 22 driver crew mode. Now, surely that, well, you know, we've surely have caught the attention of Red Bull, but remember what happened to Gasly. In real life, won that race, you know, in the Italian Grand Prix, and still didn't get a call up back to Red Bull. But yes, it's definitely nice to savour the moment now of the first race victory in this career mode, beating Verstappen as well, who pretty much dominated that race weekend up to that moment when the safety car came out and he was caught napping behind Sebastian Vettel, who came home in P9 in the end. But Schwartzman, his first points of the season as well, and Albon, that means all the teams that managed to score points. Sonoda misses out as well. Unfortunately for the young Japanese driver there, the Red Bull effectively C team at Williams, that's what it is. So, you know, and we're only 13 points behind Perez now in the constructors, so in the drivers' championship. So we're definitely making a name for ourselves. Perez hasn't had the best time. He needs a race win if he wants to defend that from us. In terms of the Drivers' Championship, Verstappen now still 17 points in front, so we have limited the damage for Leclerc, who failed to score. Red Bull do have, nevertheless, 71 point advantage. We've closed the gap to Mercedes to 1 point. Sadly, Pierre Gasly, his focus isn't that great, so, and you know, he didn't DNF today, but even so, you know, during the races we needed him to actually start to score some points again, which was the hope after Canada, after we got him that 8th place. Sadly, it hasn't worked in the 2 races since. So Hungary is going to be awful. The car just won't suit Hungary at all. Mercedes will definitely probably look to bounce back at that track. But then we've got Belgium and Italy. Those 2 tracks will be targeting a double point score as well. And then there are 3 final tracks who are, you know, Mexico and Brazil, we can definitely score points. Japan is a bit of an unknown as well. So yes, that's what I'm going to leave it today's video. If you have enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and you see plenty more F1 22 driver command videos as and when they come out. Until the next video then, I'll see you next time. Take care, thanks so much for watching, enjoy your day, and goodbye.